Comic book writer and cartoonist Jean Luen Yang published a children's fiction graphic novel called American Born Chinese. It is a tale about three different storylines, each representing an aspect of discrimination and stereotypical views of Chinese Americans and their personal life. The three main characters are Monkey King, Jin, and Chin-Kee. The Monkey King represents the deep spirituality of Chinese culture. Jin represents the author's sense of himself in the world, and Chinky represents how the author felt others saw him and the stereotypes they projected on him. One of the protagonists in the story, though it might not be obvious, is Chinky because he affects Danny's story. Jin Lun Yang illustrates Chinky's change in facial expression, figures or posture, characterization, and dark humor to represent the significance of his presence not just for his physical transformation, but also his purpose in Danny's story and growth. An example of this is when the author uses facial expressions and dark humor to show Danny's worries and resistance towards Chinky's presence at home and school. This can be especially noted in Chapter 1, as in 3.10, 3.12. Danny drops the book because of shock after he hears Chinky comes to visit. This is a significant moment in Chinky's story because we get to know how he affects Danny. We not only see he is shocked, which is shown by him dropping the book, but we can see he is distraught through the facial expression as he froze from his straight posture, grinding his teeth, a physical manifestation of stress and anxiety. This indicates that Chinky has visited Danny before and has made his life worse. Later in the story, in 6.76 to 6.82, it specified why he is distraught about Chinky coming to visit. When Chinky visits Danny, he also goes to school with Danny, and due to Chinky's unusual character, it affects Danny's reputation in school. People stop thinking of him as Danny, and rather he's known as Chinky's cousin. So, to compensate for his unusualness, he switches school. What makes Chinky an important character in the story is how he is made. Jean Luen Yang combined all the stereotypes given to Chinese Americans by Americans into one character, which is also why Chinky has an unusual behavior. The author uses facial expression and written expressions such as onomatopoeia and metaphor to show the Chinese American stereotypes and model minority that Chinky has and how that affects Danny in school. This can be seen throughout Chapter 6. Other than 6.4, most of the chapter has a lot of stereotypical dark humor. 6.4 is a special panel because this is where we get to see model minority, which is myth as Asian Americans are polite, law-abiding group who achieve a higher level of success. This also means they are people who do not want to break any rules and always want to be good people. And to implement this, Jean Luen Yang used them going late and him not being happy about this and complaining to Danny as an example. This also showed how Danny didn't want people to know that he and Chinky were cousins. Another thing that Americans stereotyped Asians for was them being smart and they were being best at school and overall education. This can be seen in an array of panels where Chinky was able to answer every question in all the subjects without doubt. Though this might seem like a good stereotype since being called smart, but no matter what race, ethnicity is getting stereotyped for, it is unacceptable. To have more effect on the reader, all the panels had Danny right beside him, and we were able to see him getting embarrassed and tired of Chinky as more proof that Danny doesn't admire Chinky's presence. One of the most dramatic and drastic physical changes that Chinky goes through affects the rest of the story and connects all three storylines. In the final chapter of Chinky's story, Jean Luen Yang uses figures and graphic weight to show how Chinky's identity is revealed because of Danny's action. As a result, it reveals Danny's true self. In panels 8.130 and 8.136, we get to see that Danny does not exist. He's not a true character, but just Jin in a different form. He changed his form because of discrimination he was facing in his storyline. He left his true form as Jin, so he does not have to face that embarrassment, and because Chinky is his cousin, even in different form, he faces this. This is also why when he arrives late to school, he is very ignorant of Chinky, because he does not want to be known as his cousin and made fun of a Chinese, because he gets made fun of as a Chinese in his true form. In the very last chapter of Chinky's storyline, we can see Chinky is dancing on the table singing, and after Danny hears this, he grabs him out alone and tries to make him leave. Danny hits Chinky, forces him to do something against his will, and does this aggressively. This makes Chinky fight him back. To dramatize the fight towards Jin, the author uses sound effects, Chinese food names, and offense moves to put together. For example, hot and sour wet willy. The author used this to further emphasize Chinky's heritage and the stereotype that Americans gave to Chinese people, which is the way they talk and the things they eat. The intensity of the fight reveals the fake head, revealing Danny. Chin-Kee also never existed, but he was just the Monkey King in disguise. In conclusion, Jean Luen Yang uses visual imagery and literary techniques to show Chin-Kee's physical change and how that affects Danny's story and growth. We were able to see how Danny did not like Chin-Kee, and near the end finds out who Chin-Kee is and reveals his true form to himself. Chin-Kee helps Jin grow out of a Danny, a false form of himself, and ended his embarrassment he faced being himself.